Coming up on ECG, good news, I'm not dead after all.
Disney devours Fox.
Destiny 2 follows in Battlefront 2's footsteps.
Then the Nintendo switches on for the holiday.
And I thought I was the sick one. All this and more coming up on the East Coast Geek Podcast. Man, it just sounds so bad not a pitch. Welcome to episode 118 of the East Coast Geek Podcast for Friday, December 15th, 2017, where we bring you all the latest news on comics, movies, and gaming. I'm your host, Jeremy, and with me, as always, is Opu. How you doing, bud?
Well, I'm a little rusty, apparently, with the intros.
A little.
It's only been a million zillion years.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Yeah, I apologize. That's my fault. I have been completely under the weather, and if you don't believe me, I did stream a lot, so go ahead and check out some of my streams and see how terrible I was. My favorite button when I was playing games turned out to be the mute button on my microphone, because I pushed that more than any other button I pressed the whole time I played.
For some reason, I thought it was you, Taylor, by the way. But yes, I've checked out your streams, and yes, they are traditionally awful. But that's neither here or there.
They're extra awful right now with me being sick.
It's just special awful.
Yeah. So I've been recovering. I'm doing all right. There will be no spoiling of Star Wars, by the way. Today is Star Wars Day, by the way.
Happy Star Wars Day, everybody. Yes, in fact, he specifically said we can't mention Star Wars in there. I have not seen it. I have not seen a movie in theater since Deadpool 2. Or Deadpool 1, apparently.
Deadpool
Jeez, I'm
2.
from the future. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God, look, it's Cable. No.
Let me tell you, there was a lot of gratuitous nudity in Deadpool 2, and you'll never believe the big plot twist.
Oh, what's the plot twist?
Right. Anyways,
yeah.
So Star Wars. Oh, there was almost fights at work today, by the way.
Really?
Of that. Because one guy saw it early, and he kept threatening people that were like really big Star Wars fans.
Listen, that is a good way to get yourself killed at work.
Oh yes. Oh yes. And, I mean, we're a room full of nerds.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Same at my work. And some friends have gone to see it already. Some of them got to see it Thursday night. Some are going this weekend, and I probably I don't know. We'll see. I've talked about it because Christopher and I went and saw the first one in the theater, and then we went and saw. I think we went and saw Rogue One in theaters as well. I can't remember.
I think you said you did.
So we need to make another trip, but I probably will wait a little while.
It's gonna be crazy for the next 2 weeks.
Oh my God. So So what have you been up to in these couple of weeks? Did you actually get a chance to finish The Punisher?
I did not get a chance to finish The Punisher.
It's been 3 freaking weeks.
Let me tell you what I did finally watch. Okay, you want to see how
little
delayed I am on finishing stuff? I finally saw Spider-Man: The Homecoming and Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Oh, I still haven't seen those. But at least I finished The Punisher. But I mean, you know.
Well, you've been sick, so you've been able to be at home.
Oh no, those 2 days after it came out, I binged them while I was sitting there doing nothing. So.
Well, yeah. So I haven't finished Punisher, but it's really good. So I can't say more than that. But Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was great, and Spider-Man: Homecoming was okay, except for the two their Flash absolutely sucked. Like I was like, okay, well maybe he'll be good. You know, they keep saying stuff. It's like, oh, okay, so he calls him Penis Parker a couple of times. Excuse my language. Okay, that's not even really like that great. And then like nothing, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like he's wasting time. And then Zendaya's character, whoever she is, does nothing the entire movie. She snarks. And it's not even that great of snarking. So really? And the thing is, it would make sense if she was like people treated her mean, but everybody was really nice. Like people were like this was like Peter Parker had friends, people that relied on him. Baby Groot was amazing. Baby Groot was the most precious thing.
Spoilers.
And, Huh?
Spoilers.
Come on.
I haven't
He's
seen it
always
yet.
absolutely dominated the commercials.
Well, I know.
But we... Huh?
No, I just haven't watched the movie yet. I mean...
Not spoiling anything else for you.
Okay.
But I'm sure we will have some discussions offline about
yeah, I'm
it.
sure.
You'll probably have some questions for me.
I am sure.
A lot of people did. So what else? Guess what else I saw? So we were talking about Netflix original series.
So what were you watching besides Punisher?
Okay. So yeah, smooth, well-rehearsed segue. We're so great at this. I watched Stretch Armstrong and the Flex Fighters. Well, I was trying to find something for like that it was okay to have with the little kid running around. I don't want to see people getting their head axes and hammers and stuff, you know?
Right.
So Stretch Armstrong and the Flex Fighters. Wow, this animation is terrible. This is some of the worst animation I've seen. The animation for what Netflix puts out with like Voltron, and for the quality shows like Punisher and Daredevil.
Oh no, we keep losing you. Try and leave the
bad.
Yeah, try and leave the call and pop back in and bring your video back up. It keeps cutting out. Yeah, I have heard about Stretch Armstrong, and I heard some of the nightmares. Are you good now?
Am I good now?
Yeah, you look good now. Well, I mean,
I'm
as good as can be expected. Anyway, so
I don't know what happened
though.
It looked like my screens had to restart real quick. So
yeah, that's fine.
I don't know if you've talked to anybody else about this, but it's absolutely trash. Like the background scenes, the characters move so awkward. There's a guy running, right? There's two characters like talking, and there's these characters running. Like this character running in the background, and it takes him. He's like, you can't see it if you're listening audio wise, but it like takes him 15 minutes to like run across, and it was like a normal sprint. Like their timing was off, all this stuff. It's insane.
Hey, Provost, he didn't pay for his fast lane yet, so
yeah, that's true. The choreograph, when they choreographed the fight scenes, like in storyboarding, it looked like it was good. Like they had a great plan, but then it was executed so poorly. Especially when you have like stretching characters like these characters are, you need it to be incredibly smooth.
Right.
And they did not. The character design for all the characters besides the main three heroes is terrible.
You can't have any tearing. Oh, bad pun. Yeah,
so he looks like a Swamp Thing villain or something, or like a mutated version of the creature of Black Lagoon.
Okay.
And, that would be okay. But then he's got powers of stretching, too.
Wonderful.
So it's like the character does not reflect what his capabilities are.
Right.
Yeah, they do, like, show that he's amphibious, but he only pops up a couple of times. And how often in the middle of the city are you going to have an underwater battle,
Not very often, I wager.
Exactly. Like, most of it happens, like, in ceilings or on buildings and stuff. And here's the millions of dollars that went into the show, or hundreds of thousands that went into the show. The arc villain's name, this evil mastermind's name, this monster's name, Stretch Monster.
Stretch Monster, that's it?
When I first typed up these notes, I came up with three names off the top of my head while typing these up. Stretch Scales, Flex Fang, or Omega Flex, or something like that. Like off the top of my head. Come on. I'm not that smart.
Apparently more creative than they are.
So, yeah. And so, it was like the same cut and paste stories, that every show since the 80s have had, bullying is bad. Hey, if you have a designated leader, maybe you should listen to them. Stuff like that. At least the dialogue is sometimes witty. There's that, but it's like one joke a episode is kind of funny.
Witty banter, unlike ours, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to rush this out because I know we got a lot of stuff to cover, and I am notorious for tangents. If you've never paid attention to this show in the past 118,
that's fine because nothing has happened in the past 3 weeks.
Nothing. That's true.
It's as if people haven't missed a single week of our show. So with that, all right. Thanks for watching, everyone. No, I'm just kidding. So so over the past couple of weeks of being sick, I've gotten to play some video games, and that's been exciting because I got back into PUBG again, and they put their new desert map on the test servers, and I got to try out with that and the improvements. And I got to tell you, they've made some optimization changes, and I'm sitting at like 109 frames a second, up from like 60 to 80, somewhere in there. I'm keeping above 100 for most of the match, which is really, really nice. It looks butter smooth, and they're making good improvements to the game. This looks terrible. All right. Anyways, so I've been playing that. I started playing Skyrim again, and I am currently at the point where I usually drop off. I've started the Brotherhood quest, and I just finished the main story of the Thieves Guild. So right about now is when I stop playing and never play it again. But it is the Skyrim Special Edition, and I had received that as a birthday gift. So I've been streaming that, and that's been a lot of fun, actually. I've enjoyed going back to that. I actually decided to take the conjuration path with my thief, so I now have a conjured bow and a conjured sword. So that's a lot of fun, too, because I don't have to carry anything. And then the last thing I started playing this past week and a half is Nioh, Nioh, which is a Japanese-themed Dark Souls kinda type game. Very unforgiving combat and lots of strategy and planning throughout the fights and stuff like that. And it's been a lot of fun. It's very frustrating when I, continuously die to one or two hits or a bullcrap combo that one of the NPCs gets in. But otherwise, it's been a lot of fun, and the multiplayer is kind of neat because you, unlike Dark Souls where you get invaded by people, you don't usually have someone just show up in your match. They have what's called revenants, which are other heroes who have died fighting things in the maps, and you can actually choose to fight them if you want to. And in some cases, they actually they're like a violent summons where, like, when you're doing a big battle with a bunch of demons, one of them will pop up every now and then, and it's a real pain in the neck because it happens all the time when there's, like, what I've noticed, like, a mass number of dead bodies around, or the revenant markers, I guess. But otherwise, it's really cool. Great game for controllers. Highly recommend it. I've been having a lot of fun, and the story is really, really cool. Because, like I said, it's Japanese, feudal Japan themed. So, like, 1600, I think, was the date. A lot of interesting things with the spirits that inspire the heroes and stuff like that. And, they have their benefits, and you get boosted attacks and stuff against the demons. But, man, you gotta dodge. And block.
You gotta learn the dodge button quick.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun, and they're switching between the high, low, and mid stances, which increase or decrease your damage, but increase your dodge and all that. So a lot of juggling of that, but it's a lot of fun. It's really neat. It kind of makes me want to eventually go back and play Dark Souls again because I never finished the third one.
Yeah, well, I never finished the first one because I never started it, but I plan on buying it eventually.
I forgot to check. There was supposed to be an announcement from Software this fine day. Mm-hmm. Supposedly there was supposed to be an announcement of a Dark Souls remastered that may actually make its way to Switch, because apparently Nintendo was going to have a big presence at this From Software conference, which I forgot to pull stuff from. Maybe I'll look to see if I can find things while we're going through some of these stories that I don't know anything about.
Hey, if it makes you feel better, I don't know anything about them either.
And otherwise, I mean, PUBG, I think it won multiplayer game of the year, but Zelda won game of the year?
Breath of the Wild won game of the year.
Which is awesome. That game's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's really good. I downloaded the DLC packs for it.
Yeah?
With the Champions Ballad and everything.
Yeah, really neat.
Yeah, it's pretty neat because now if you guys don't want anything spoiled for that, don't listen for this report. But what happens is that I thought you would play as the the champions. I'm assuming pretty much everybody did because after I bought it, I saw that they released a notice. By the way, you don't play as the champions, but you play in It's kind of like Quantum Leap. You remember where he would go inside their body, but it was him?
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of like that. Like Link will, after Link does certain things, he'll go and fight the boss again, like the champions tried to.
Okay.
For whatever, what are they called? The ancient robot weapons.
Oh, okay.
And he'll be dressed like them.
Okay.
And he has their weaponry and whatever limited stuff that they had. He doesn't get his full gear. Nice. So it can actually be challenging unless you go and do Urbosa's Fury first. Okay. Because it boosts the amount of times you can do it, and that turns pretty much every fight into a joke.
Gotcha.
And then you get an upgraded version of the abilities that the champions give you.
Okay.
So stuff will recharge faster, or you get to use it more often.
Okay. All right. And the last thing I wanted to say was that PUBG gets its full release on Tuesday, the 20th. So looking forward to that because honestly, I've been playing nothing but the test server, and it doesn't even count.
It doesn't count. What do you mean?
Well, because it's a test server, it's
like it doesn't contribute to like
it doesn't contribute to your main account. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a lot better. They've changed a lot of things, so Tuesday can't come soon enough. So I'll end up streaming that next week. But all right, let's go ahead and move into the news. We got one combo article for the comics. If you want to go ahead and take that.
Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I don't know. Let's see. Crazy. Okay, so hey, check this out. Well, you guys already know this, but Axel Alonso is out as editor-in-chief at Marvel. Finally, because he's been awful. You know, to be fair, he did some good things, but he's done a lot of bad things.
Yeah.
And CB, Cebulski.
Isn't it CE?
I said CB.
Oh,
Charlie
CB.
Bravo.
Oh, Charlie Bravo. Okay. Yep. Cebulski.
Cebulski is in as Marvel's new editor-in-chief. So they quietly replaced him a couple of weeks ago, Alonso.
Right.
And they had CB succeed him.
Right.
Cebulski said that it's crazy. It's an honor. I'm blown away by the opportunity. He went on to add that he wants to focus on developing Marvel's talent beyond just writers and artists. We always hear about the writers and the artists, but people forget the inkers and colors and the letters. Each of them is an artist in their own right, which is very true. Like, you know, like usually the guys like one can do the other and vice versa and everything, but whatever.
Right.
The Alonso era was praised for emphasis in character and creative diversity, but also received heavy criticism for a streak of yearly line-wide launches, flooding the comic book market upwards of 70 titles at a time, and the Secret Empire storyline, which was completely stupid. Among a bunch of storylines that were really stupid. Hopefully, CB will end these Marvel events that happen yearly because they're boring, and the ramifications of one does not get ever referenced again. So it's almost like these massive year-long big lip alligator moments where you had about 15 different comics to keep up with the plot, and the plot's stupid anyways, and nobody wants to read them besides the critics on YouTube.
Right.
And that's why. So I mean, anybody that's kept up with even the most basics of comics this year. Last 2 years, but especially this year, knows that. Oh yeah, don't even get me started on Axis either. Well, I mean, you know, there was a couple of good things that came out this year, but yeah, it was really bad for Marvel because they just made a lot of stupid moves. So hopefully, like some fresh blood will come in there. However, old CB here is not without his own criticisms and issues. He publicly admitted that he was the writer Yoshida, which led to accusations to him of cultural appropriation and even yellow facing when he was merely trying to keep himself from being pigeonholed into a certain market.
Well, he was what he was supposed to be a editor, I think, was his position before.
Something like that. And they weren't allowing them to do like their own story books and stuff.
Right. They were only supposed to be doing editing. So he created this pseudonym, Akira Yoshida, and used it to go on to create a lot of other comics during that time. Also, I think they had mentioned it was a lot of Asian influenced type stuff too.
Right.
Not just in the name, but also art styles and things like that. And it had to do too. He's kind of a what do we call that type of person? Like there's the movie files or cinephiles. He was very enthralled.
Like a movie buff.
He was really enthralled with the Japanese cultures and stuff like that, and was actually studying a lot of Japanese stuff like that. So to him it was kind of he was trying to pay honor to that type of thing, and not trying to intentionally appropriate the culture. However, it still leads to that, especially in this day and age.
Here's the thing. Look at Avatar, the last Airbender one.
Right.
Massively inspired by Asian and Japanese cultures.
Right.
And it's absolutely beloved. Look at what was Jack? Samurai Jack.
Yeah.
Massively inspired. There's nothing wrong with being inspired by other cultures, because guess what? We wouldn't have half of the literature out there, and that's optimistic, if we weren't taking inspiration. Like if there was a social faux pas on Japanese being inspired from Chinese, there goes Dragon Ball right there. Well, hell, without Journey to the West, there goes most of the anime market.
And most of this stuff, I feel like it's somebody looking for something to pick on. The guy had a successful career that was kind of stifled by Marvel at the time when he was an editor, and wanted to still grow as an artist, and this was the only way he could do it. Pseudonyms are not something that are brand new. He didn't make it up himself. This is something that's been going on throughout history. Whether it's you look back at Benjamin Franklin and the Silas Dogood. Was it Dogood or Doolittle? I think it was Silas Dogood, right? I mean, I understand that the cultural appropriation thing is still an issue per se, but Marvel was completely aware of this. He made them aware of this after a while, and they were already past it as far as him using a pseudonym to do work outside of what his scope of his job actually entailed and required of him. So they had already, passed on it and, said, bygones be bygones, and we still want you to be, editor-in-chief. This is what the deal is. So they've known about his pseudonym work for a while. They just never publicly announced anything, because at that point he's been working his way through the company and up to the point where now he's the editor-in-chief. Marvel doesn't care. It's an internal thing. The business doesn't care that he did that, so it shouldn't matter, other than the fact that
right. And there's been people that pretend to be other genders,
right,
to get stuff published or whatever. So I don't see that as a big deal.
Yeah.
And
like I said, I'm sure in his mindset he was doing it because he wanted to honor the culture that he was so enthralled by. Mm-hmm. Albeit, this type of stuff wasn't a huge issue back in the day when he did it, because this isn't something that he just did like 5 years ago. This has been a while ago. So it feels like nitpicking to me. So, but anyways, regardless, it should be interesting to see what he can do and what he can change.
I'm not more concerned about what he's done in the past. I'm wondering about the way the market's going to go on for Marvel, because they've got to do something, because they've got to hire talented writers, and they're going to have to start paying. If they want quality writers and quality artists, if he's that concerned about this, they got to start paying them.
Right.
We've talked about it in the past that Marvel's kind of notorious for being fairly cheap.
Right.
And that's why people will stay with Marvel just to get their name out there. and maybe get a chance to write a couple of books of characters that they loved as kids. At least that used to be. Now they're just hiring anybody they see off of Twitter or whatever,
right,
and let them just do whatever with these characters, and they're not good stories. They're boring stories, and
they're being
people that don't. Yeah,
they're being bad stewards of the titles. So
yeah, the candy bars.
All right, let's go ahead and move into the movies and news, movies and TV, unless you have anything else.
No, I do have one last minute one that I want to add.
It's not in here.
When we get there.
Oh, it's okay. All right, I'll allow it. Let me hit this thing. Perry forever immortalized in finding that for us. All right, the next awesome thing that we have to talk about is strangely comic book related. Actually, most of this crap is.
You know what? To be honest with you, the past year it's been basically the comic section, the movies and TV section has been basically the same thing.
Well, yeah, for sure. Justice League did badly. It's kind of like that end scene in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade with the knight who sat there and said he chose poorly, talking about WB and DC and the bad decisions they've made. I haven't even checked it yet. No Star Wars, Adam. No Star Wars. There's been requests and people threatening to burn down our facilities.
Our bathroom facilities.
Our bathroom
facilities. Much we like to go potty.
Perry, that's not.
As in you are.
I saw that meme that says, I'm struggling between wanting to correct people's grammar and wanting friends.
Also, they're spelling. Right, honey? Upstairs?
My League. All right, I got to check because I didn't
okay,
check
so you check. So I've heard, okay things, but here's the thing, and I agree with one of my coworkers, is that the movie, unfortunately, was kind of damned before it ever came out. Between the controversy with what unfortunately happened with Zack Snyder's family,
right?
The stuff coming out about the execs being vindictive against Snyder, Joss Whedon's controversies that came out, the infamous mustache thing. It's like all this bad news came out before the movie premiered, so it was pretty much cursed from the beginning. And I want to go ahead and say too, I feel, people may love him or hate him as Batman, but I feel really bad for Ben Affleck. And that was another thing that was happening during this. He had some controversies, and I think he started going through a divorce. And
yeah, well, I mean, he's a pretty handsy guy from we saw at that interview that he did so many years ago.
Yeah, but I kind of feel bad for him in a way because he's like, he grew up loving Batman, and he always wanted to play Batman, and that's why he did the Daredevil movie.
Right, because he wanted to be in superhero stuff.
Yeah, he was like, well, this is the only chance I'm going to get to play anything close to Batman. And now all those years later, where he's starting to get older and out of the age group for Batman, they're like, hey, you want to play him? He's like, yeah. And it's all these awful movies, and everybody hates him, and he's just like,
well, and I heard, and I've heard, because I haven't seen, because I'm not going to pay for that crap. It's a 40% critic rating, by the way, and 80% audience score. And those are always polarizing anyways. I heard it's nothing but holy plot holes, and that's par for the course for Zack Snyder type movies, which is even more embarrassing for Joss Whedon because he was supposed to be brought in to fix a bunch of that crap, which I guess the best thing that he did was a huge slight against Zack Snyder. I heard that during the intro credits, there was a homeless person on the street with a sign that said, I tried my best. And at that time, they had put Joss Whedon, or not Joss Whedon, Zack Snyder's name on the credits in that scene.
Wow.
There's a lot of animosity, as much as we've heard, great things about how Joss Whedon's coming in to help out Zack Snyder to finish up. Apparently, Joss Whedon didn't really like Zack Snyder's stuff, and I think there's a petition right now that Zack Snyder actually started to get the Zack Snyder cut of the Justice League movie.
Yeah, I've heard about that because he or some other people have come out and said, oh, hey, guess what? There was supposed to be Superman in the black costume. There was supposed to be a Green Lantern cameo. There was supposed to be a Darkseid cameo, all this stuff. And Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know. It could have fixed it. I don't know.
Yeah, and we'll never know because I highly doubt WB will ever do anything like that, anyways. And whether or not Jeff Johns will allow that type of stuff to go on. But at the same time, in the time that we've heard this movie launched and then heard some reports from everything and how poorly it's doing, and it made $93 million in the first weekend. This movie was supposed to make over $1 billion, and it made $93 million in the first weekend. It's probably up over 300, but it's definitely not gonna. They're not gonna break even on it. But there's already been talks of a possible, or more likely, reboot of the entire universe, which I think they should do.
Its current box office per Wikipedia is $625 million
Worldwide, right?
I'm just looking at the box office section.
Do Box Office Mojo instead. They have a breakdown of worldwide versus U.S. intake.
Yeah, it looks like it's worldwide. A worldwide total of $625 million against a production budget of $300 million.
What did the Joss Whedon Avengers movie do? Was it 1.2 billion or something like that?
Avengers 1 film. Let's see what we got. The Avengers made 1.5 billion on 1.519 billion. Against a budget of 220 million.
Yeah, and it was a worldwide. That was the worldwide number, obviously. But it made 623 million in the U.S. alone, and another 895 around the world, which was 59% of the market, anyways. We could go on forever, and I was just thinking about suggesting a way they could fix the universe in a way that would make it easy for them to get out of it. But I'm gonna save it because the next episode of how we're gonna fix it is gonna be the Justice League, or not Justice League,
DCEU.
The DCEU. We'll talk about that on another episode. But regardless, the rewrites, the reshoots, everything that happened with that, they lost more money than they should have. A lot more time that they lost on doing all that reshooting.
Is it too early to talk about spoilers for the Justice League film? Well, no matter. I'll save that for that show too, because I basically would point out the biggest flaw in the show.
I think when we do those episodes where we talk about how to fix things, I think all gloves are off on spoilers and everything. So
right,
and DC they could be great, and WB is probably the only thing holding them back.
Now let's put this in perspective. Age of Ultron, right, made $1.405 billion, and they considered that almost a failure.
Yeah.
Because it didn't break 200 or 2 billion.
Yeah.
So if Disney was disappointed by what Age of Ultron again,
you want to know
1.4 billion?
You want to know something funny?
Justice League making
half of that.
Half of that.
Yeah.
Not even a half of that.
You want to know what? You know what I want?
What?
You want to know what I think?
What?
I think in May, Disney may stand to make $2 billion off that new Avengers movie. I think.
Oh, Infinity War.
I think
if it doesn't make. I'm going to be shocked if it doesn't make $2 billion.
I think the Russo brothers was the best pick they could have made. They made the best Captain America movie and probably one of the most revered of the Marvel movies. Honestly, which one was that?
Winter Soldier?
Yeah, was it Winter Soldier? I think it was Winter Soldier. Probably one of the best ones in the series. Honestly, one of my favorites.
Yeah, I love that movie.
It is exactly what I've said before that Marvel has done. They've figured out how to make a genre film with superheroes in it. That's all that it takes. It's not a movie about Captain America. Captain America is in it, but it's a political intrigue and an espionage type movie.
Yep.
It is freaking James Bond starring Captain America.
Yeah, I know you're absolutely right, and that's what I was going to say. And well, again, we could go into a massive tangent. I'm going to try not to, but you have to set stuff up. Like people were trying to compare there was a really small weak attempt at the early stages to compare the Martha scene to Captain America saying, I'm with you until the end of the ride."
Yeah.
No, you can't compare those two, because guess what? That saying was set up all the way in Captain America 1 when they said it 2 or 3 times throughout that film, and that was like Bucky and Cap's thing.
Yeah.
Back when Cap was just Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
That carried on through that entire movie. And so for him to bring it back in 2, after 70 years, he still remembers Bucky, and he still loves him as his best friend ever. And the last thing that he has left from the 70s, not the 70s, from 70, 80 years ago, especially because of Sharon Carter dying, or at least having
Peggy
Alzheimer's.
Peggy.
I'm sorry, Peggy. Peggy Carter having Alzheimer's. So that was like one of his last anchors to his original life.
Right.
And so for Bucky to try to leave Bucky, yes, he's going to fight the entire world for it.
Well,
so it made more sense, and as opposed to just say, "Save Martha." Well, why'd you say that name?
They had been best friends before their service. So
it's not. That's what I said back when he was just Steve Rogers.
No, I know, and I'm saying what I was going to relate to was the blood is thicker than water. Those guys are basically brothers. I mean,
yeah,
and the whole thing of the Winter Soldier and all the fallout from that was it. It just shows the loyalties of Captain America. I mean, he loves his country, but when his country forsaked him, his brother never forgot,
Yeah.
So.
And the other thing is ramifications. Is we don't see many ramifications of. I mean, Justice League is supposed to be the ramifications from BVS, but not really. Again, I won't go into everything, but
can you have ramifications from ramifications? I mean, BVS was ramifications from Man of Steel.
Yeah. Now, see, that was kind of good that they set it up. That everybody was like kind of terrified of Superman after seeing what he could do in Man of Steel. So that was kind of a good setup. But they never, from there, they never set up how he was supposed to be the great hope of the world, like he was supposed to be in Justice League. So everybody was still terrified of him in BVS, and with Doomsday, as opposed to the Kryptonians invading and Man of Steel, the entire world didn't see Doomsday.
So
not Doomsday.
Yeah, so we pulled something from the comic section, and I want to talk about it. I really do, because the conversation I heard about it on another show was very interesting to me, because the new Watchmen series, and I don't know how much you've dug into that or not, if you've even looked at anything of it, and I don't know how much you like the Watchmen and whether you do or not.
It's first of all, yes, I absolutely adore Watchmen, and it's just Watchmen, not the Watchmen.
Okay, Watchmen. My bad. Anyways,
but yes, so the merging them has been relatively seamless. I haven't gotten to read the individual stories yet, but DC comic wise, between Dark Metal. Listen, okay, with Dark Metal, the other story arc that's going on right now for them, which is like an alternate universe storyline, Batman has a Kryptonian gauntlet with all the different types of kryptonite in there, and he calls it the Five-Finger Death Punch.
Right.
Like the band?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. He called it that, and how much more badass can you get? So
the reason why I wanted to talk about it, because it might actually be a way out for DC. Supposedly, what's going to happen is, and rumors, of course, but the Doomsday Clock series that's about to kick off here soon takes place in 1992. Do you know what happened in 1992 in DC Comics?
Oh, Death of Superman?
there is the supposition that Superman shows up in the Watchmen Doomsday Clock series. And the reason being is that, during his downtime, Mr. Manhattan created all these alternate universes of heroes. And that the Watchmen... I know I keep saying the Watchmen, but there's no way to say it without saying it. The Watchmen are responsible for all those other universes existing. Well, at least Dr. Manhattan.
Right, because at the end of the miniseries, they ask Dr. Manhattan what he's going to do now that he's more or less regained his humanity or his passion for life. And he's like, oh, well, I think I'll go create some, and disappears.
Right.
So yes, that was probably more or less their segue into doing that potentially.
Well, supposedly when that picks up, one of his universes has gone awry, and one of his creations, Superman, has escaped from that universe and is showing up in New York. Yeah. Apparently Rorschach shows up, and you know what happens to him at the end of the original series.
Yeah.
So there's questions too, and assumptions that somebody high profile like Superman, or not Superman, Batman shows up in the Rorschach garb, which is
I don't know. I'm gonna have to read it. I haven't I think we talked about it a few months ago about
yeah, I think we did,
characters showing up,
and apparently there have been hints dropped throughout series in the past few years, like you said. So it kind of piqued my interest when I heard about it on another show, and I thought it'd be really neat to talk about it and to see what you knew, because that's actually kind of really interesting if they have that kind of crossover. I mean, even still, like I said, there's been no reveal of who the new Rorschach is or who's wearing Rorschach's outfit. But the two possibilities were Batman or Flash. So it's an interesting question, and I'd actually be interested to see what's going on. And like I said, off air, in October they showed the first 6 pages of issue 1 of the Doomsday Clock series. So, and apparently it had some inferences in there on who it actually is, but they weren't going to spoil it on the show. They wanted you to go take a look and read it. So I just haven't had the opportunity to look at it because I was just listening to the episode of that show just the other day when I was driving to work. So, but
yeah, I definitely need to check it out. I've had, unfortunately, when I buy comics these days, I tend to wait until they're out in volumes because it's just more durable and easier to store.
Right.
Especially, as you can tell, I have the space, but I don't have the bookshelves just yet. I need to go just spend like $800 on. God, I need to spend just a ton of money on bookshelves just to even get a fraction of what I've got in the shelves, and I have boxes and on the floors. And the bad habit is when I went and got this shirt, just to go on a tangent, is because I went to the comic shop and I spent money.
Wow.
Yeah, I did limit myself. I only bought The Witcher comic series volume 1, which is really good. All
right,
but no tangents.
So I made some side comments about Justice League that I threw in the notes here. The DCEU talks of the universe reboot, which it'll put them another freaking 10 years behind behind Marvel's cinematic universe. But I think if they want to do it right and they want to actually make some money, if they do it right and they do it the way they should and take the time to develop it properly, it could be successful. But I don't think they could do it in the current state that it's in. They need to do a full reboot. It's one of those times where you would say, oh no, another reboot. But this time, you know what? I'd even stomach another freaking Martha and Wayne, Thomas Wayne dying again just to get something better than the crap that they're putting out.
Yeah,
and they're literally shoveling crap into popcorn boxes to give to you so that they can have your money.
And here's the thing that sucks is that they did it backwards. They should have done. They should have had Lex Luthor escape jail at the beginning of Justice League, when everybody's sour and down and nobody is motivated to do anything, create the Injustice League or whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
Go, and now the country's vulnerable because there's no Superman around. Try to take over the city. That would inspire Batman to pull people together, and then at the end of that, Lex Luthor runs away into the hands of Darkseid.
Yeah.
Then you would have set out your cosmic level stuff, but they knew you got to start down here. Your way out. You can't start up here. Then go down here.
You'll lose people. You lose people in translation. If you start at the microscopic level and then go up to macro, then you'll be all right.
Yeah,
which is what Marvel's doing right. I mean, let's face it. Could you imagine if the first movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe was Guardians of the Galaxy?
You know what? Here's the thing with that. Guardians of the Galaxy is so people would have no clue what was going on. So so you're right in a way, but it's so off of what the Avengers timeline is.
Well,
that
not only this,
in a weird way, it would have worked. But it would be could you imagine if they started with Civil War and then went to Avengers 1 and then went to Guardians of the Galaxies or Deadpool or something, now that they own Deadpool, which we're going to get to, and then went to Infinity War. It's just they're throwing darts at a wall to see what sticks, and it's not working for them.
Oh, they did. Yeah, you know what? Oh, they did do. They did do both. The Russo brothers did Winter Soldier and Civil War, and now the Avengers: Infinity War and its direct sequel.
And Civil War is not one of my top of the Marvel films, but in their defense, they were adapting a massive and terribly thought out storyline.
Yeah.
So I understand.
Time will tell. Eventually, I'll see the Justice League, but I am at the point where I'm ready for them to just reboot it. Also, I heard the repeat of the joke of what Aquaman's mom's name was, Aqua Martha. All right. Let's talk about the biggest news this week.
This might be the biggest news of the year, movie-wise.
Let alone the century, right?
Well, the 21st century, at least.
Right.
Or the 20th century. Which one is it?
21st century. Disney...
20th Century Fox.
It's actually 21st Century Fox. They updated it at the turn of the century, yeah.
Oh.
Disney purchases Fox Searchlight 21st Century Fox Entertainment for $54 billion in stock.
Now, before we go into this further... I pointed out to Jeremy when we were talking about this earlier this week, and I was like, 50. I said, for $54 billion. And he goes, well, it was in stock. I said, dude, I don't care if it's in gummy bears. That's $54 billion. That is a ton of anything.
So, yeah. And I've seen that going around too.
You know what though?
54 billion in stock is not anything to turn your nose up at either, by the way. That's $54 billion in stock that's going to rise.
Oh yeah.
It's going to make more money. Fox is actually making out a lot more than you would think.
Right, because this is a brilliant move for Fox. Fox has absolutely won this, and although short term with Disney getting all these IPs, especially their Marvel stuff back, is great.
Yeah.
But now they own 21 or 24.7% of entertainment now. That's kind of terrifying. So, real quick about the Kingdom Hearts 3 delay. Actually, that would be pretty cool. Have you ever played the Simpsons arcade game?
I love the Simpsons arcade game.
Totally cool for a Simpsons world to be added to Kingdom Hearts.
Simpsons arcade game and the X-Men game all combined together. It'd be great.
Yes, they got to buy Ninja Turtles because that Ninja Turtles arcade game was legit too.
Oh, yeah, it was. Oh, those are the good old days. Hey, kids, ask your parents if you're too young. So they now own Aliens, which begs the question: do all the little aliens, are they all Disney princesses now?
No, only the alien queens are.
Oh well, no, they're queens.
Yeah, they can still be princesses.
They also own Avatar, which Disney was already putting in a themed area in the Animal Kingdom down in Florida that was going to be Avatar themed. So now they own it outright and will be able to do whatever they want with that area, which is kind of cool. That's really neat. And then, yeah, obviously they own The Simpsons. They own FX and everything that comes with that, the TV shows. They own a lot. They now
that
own...
includes, like, It's Always Sunny, right?
Well, the contract's with, I'm sure.
Or is that FXX? Whatever.
It's still part of the deal.
Yeah.
Everything FX was included in the deal. What was the other thing I was going to say? Holy crap.
Well, they have all the Marvel IPs back. They have
all the TV shows. Legion, which by all rights is supposedly really good.
Firefly. That's Dark Angel. That's Titus,
maybe we'll get a Firefly reboot.
No, you won't.
You're right. They couldn't pick anybody else to be Captain Reynolds.
The Serenity has sailed.
Damn it. You know, one could hope. Our hero, the man they call Jane. My favorite episode, by the way. I love that episode. It's hilarious. So that's what it was. That's what I had on the tip of my tongue before I got distracted. They now own 27% of all movie production.
That's what I just said, dude.
Did you say that? Did you say that?
I just said they own 21 to 27%.
Whatever. All right, whatever. Yeah, what he said. Listen, I'm still getting over this freaking illness here. I'm still dying. All right, the man flu is a vicious pain in the neck. All right, so that they had to resolidify, and it should have went without saying. And I saw the arguments. They're like, oh, what about Deadpool and his R rating? Disney is not going to freaking balk at they made $1 billion the first one?
They made like $800 million off Deadpool rated R. Yes, it was absolutely going to stay rated R. And people were insane. Yes.
Look at the response to no, sorry, Adam, I have to disagree. There were two kinds of people. There were the right people and the wrong people. The right people were big fans of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The wrong people were fans of Jessica Alba, the Dark Angel show. So, no. That ship has sailed. If they want to do more continuations of Buffy, I'll go for that. But anyways, what were we talking about? Adam distracted me.
We were talking about Deadpool being rated R.
Oh, Deadpool's going to be rated R. That's not going to change. What I do hope does change is they cancel everything that's on the slate for X-Men right now.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I said. I said, cancel everything X-Men.
Except for Deadpool. Keep Deadpool.
Cancel their contracts.
Keep that guy that they got to play Colossus and make him work in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Deadpool's obviously the exception of that. We're talking about Deadpool's over here. Leave Deadpool as is. The X-Men crap right here. There's Sophie Turner, because she's a terrible Jean Grey. Jennifer Lawrence, who's a terrible Mystique. That new Magneto who uses just anger and the dark side of the Force for his powers. I don't like him. Yeah. I don't like what's his face is Xavier. He sucks.
Yeah. He should go do another Wanted movie.
And maybe this time make it accurate to the comic.
Is that a Fox movie?
Who else? Bring Darwin back. The guy's one ability is to adapt to anything.
Yeah.
Stupid. Whoever wrote that should have been fired. Like, the dude fought the Hulk, and his powers kicked in. It was like, okay, let's try to be super strong like the Hulk. The Hulk kicked the crap out of him. He's like, okay, well, let's try to drain all the energy from the Hulk. He couldn't do that. Guess what his powers did? His powers said, okay, guess what? This is how you survive, and it teleported him to the next state over.
Hey, what about an older Anna Paquin as Rogue?
No.
No? Okay. So recast that with somebody that's got a great Louisiana accent.
Yeah.
A good Creole accent.
Well,
not Creole. They need to cancel that stupid movie.
Damn it. Yeah, I was just
Jeremy
thinking
was
that
dying.
with Channing Tatum.
Yeah, they need to cancel that.
Get somebody that looks like an acrobat.
Well, and that's the thing. They're paying Fox $54 billion, but think of all the money that they're gonna dump if they cancel all these projects that are already in pre-production or already in production. Isn't the
Well,
is it?
they're not going to lose money because Fox paid for them.
Well, yeah, but when you forfeit the assets, you've got the books now, so any contracts that are going to go out have to be will be negotiated through Disney.
Well, they don't. But again, what? I think it would be worth. It'd be worth the losses because they're going to make it up. Avengers versus X-Men. It's going to be amazing.
He used to be my favorite character. What's his Gambit? Damn it!
Yes, I just say Gambit. What is wrong? You are still sick. Human Torch, Spider-Man buddy film, and have it half them in high school with antics, and half of them in costume with their antics, and that'll make $1 billion right there because it's going to be absolutely hilarious. There was a comic, and I think Dan Slaughter actually wrote it, so I'll give him some props on this, where Spider-Man and the Human Torch are like, well, you don't know how hard it is to be Spider-Man, and the Human Torch is like, you don't know how hard it is to be on the Fantastic Four's team, and so they swap roles for the day. So the Human Torch, huh?
So the one question I have for you, Mitch, is do you think that we will actually get a good Fantastic Four movie out of this? Keep in mind, I have not watched the previous 3, if you want to call them movies.
I would say that they don't need a standalone movie. I think they need to, at least not at first, they need to introduce them some other way. Like, hopefully there's a lot of rewrites going on with Infinity War 2 right now where they say,
don't say that because people get pissed when you say that. It's not Infinity Wars 2 anymore, but it's a direct sequel.
I know, but they haven't released the title.
Yeah, I know.
So I've got to say something. The Infinity War sequel.
I think that
what does sequel mean?
I am on board with the fact that the sequel is actually the reason why we didn't get a title is because it may actually be spoilery.
Oh, probably, most likely.
So,
but I've got to have a stand-in. So the Infinity War sequel or Infinity War 2?
Yeah. I'm
incredibly lazy. 2 is shorter than sequel. So Infinity War 2 for right now.
Okay.
You don't think that they could work it? Dude, they work as a movie. The Incredibles. They absolutely work as
Incredibles.
a movie.
Oh, I can't wait for The Incredibles 2. It's going to be awesome.
And so here's the thing. And I'll go ahead and tell you how you make them work. Don't have Dr. Doom in it. Don't have Dr. Doom as their first villain. Have Bowman. Somebody else.
Yeah, I don't understand why that always came up.
He wasn't their first villain. He was like in the second or third issue.
Well, that's what
they tried to kill him off. Then
that's what I'm saying. In what he's been in every movie, right? Was he even in the Silver Surfer movie? I've never watched.
He was. He stole his board and got his powers because that's totally how Silver Surfer's powers work.
No,
no, they're not.
So, Avengers 4 and the day after Thanos killed everyone. That's a great title. Yeah. So we didn't talk about the Avengers trailer, did we? We never got around to talking about it. No, we
didn't. So we can talk about it real quick. So
okay.
That was awesome.
Okay, except for that one part, which I explained to you, was that Thanos' skin probably responds differently to the pressures and oxygenated air that we breathe on Earth.
I don't see why people were criticizing that. It's like, does your skin tone stay the same consistent color? Mine changes depending on the lighting I'm in.
Do you not turn blue when you're out in space without a suit on?
I can only assume so. First, and people are like, "Oh, why does he look so fake?" Counterpoint: he's an 8.5 foot tall alien warlord with purple skin and a wrinkly chin. I'm sorry that they couldn't hire any alien warlords.
Oh,
yes, he doesn't look. Hey, you know what? Hulk doesn't look real when he's climbing up a building and ripping the building out of its foundations to hit that giant alien worm.
I mean, but look at Apocalypse, man.
Apocalypse, the thing is, they tried to do practical effects with him a lot, and he looked off anyways. Also, they weren't loyal to the original, look of him. Thanos, it looks really close. They kind of justified it, like word of God. Oh, well, he doesn't, the armor he wore in the previous things was largely ceremonial or whatever. Hey. This is when he's like, okay, I'm off my throne, I'm going to beat the crap out of some people. So and he's Thanos. He does not need body armor.
So I'm a little late to the party.
Uh-huh.
Because my brain's still lagging behind.
Yep.
What about... Do you think the reason why that they aggressively went after Fox is because the Inhumans suck?
I think they went after... I think they aggressively went after Fox. One, because they want to dominate. Two, they want their characters back. Yeah, the Inhumans... It's not that Inhumans suck. It's just that they're... For some reason, they're struggling to write them.
The Inhumans in their current state suck.
The Inhumans in their current state sucks. The Inhumans on the comics are pretty legit. And so it's easier for them to pull in the X-Men, who everybody already knows. And that was going to be my other thing, Adam, is streaming content. This buffs up. Because, first let me finish the X-Men thought. But yes, because here's the thing. The X-Men and Avengers, there's a lot of stories that tie them together. Avengers versus X-Men. Avengers Disassembled.
Wolverine in the Avengers.
Well, yeah, he's been part of that. Hey, Alpha Flight. I'd love to see an Alpha Flight film.
We've always talked about that being a possibility. Yeah. That would be great.
That would be great. Did you have Wolverine come in? We could do Hulk versus Wolverine live action.
Why didn't I think of this?
With Wendigo.
We could animate. We could. He said, "Shut your hole." We could animate. We could animate Hugh Jackman and make him Wolverine forever, because he is the embodiment of Wolverine. And, I mean, we can go from there.
So, for streaming content, like Adam said, this is what I was telling people at work, too. Is like, okay, if you look at Disney, like, by themselves, for the most part, for Disney streaming services, aside from their movies, which they've got 30 or 40 animated movies, or however many, and they've got 15 or 20 cartoon shows. That's not enough for a streaming service.
Yeah, you
need thousands of hours of content.
That is true. This does completely bulk up their
30 seasons of Simpsons. That's hyperbole. They're like at 20 episodes or season 27 now.
They made me want to get the Disney streaming service when it comes out. It adds value to their thing. They could legitimately start out with a freaking $9.99 subscription fee now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I didn't even think about that. That's huge. Not to mention the fact that they're sweetening the pot with one of the first new shows that they're working on is supposed to be a Star Wars TV show, live action.
Also, speaking of Star Wars, they now own the original Star Wars movies. It's in the original version.
Snap! That's right. Yeah. That was. They are. Listen, Disney is probably one of the smartest companies out there. Bob Iger is probably one of the most shrewd and very intelligent businessmen in the world. And also, we're pretty sure that this was going to be his like coup de grace as far as his career and the thing that he's been working for. He's also announced that he's going to stay on till like 2021 or 2022. Well,
it wasn't necessarily that he announced it. They said, we're extending you till 2021.
Yeah. Yeah,
because he's supposed to leave like next year or 2019 or something.
He's been working on this deal for years. Yeah. This is not the first time that this has come up. And last year or earlier this year when we started talking about the possibilities of this, it was not the first time that they have been talking for quite some time. And $54 billion is probably what the most they've ever paid, because they've paid $4 billion for Marvel.
Remember when they bought Marvel Comics? We thought, well, $4 billion?
Yeah,
that's insane. When they bought Star Wars, that was $4 or $7 billion.
No,
like
you know what?
It was a few billion.
So we just talked about Bob Iger being a smart guy. He would never. I don't think that he would ever think about putting two comic publishing companies under the same roof. I think it would be a mistake, and I think he would think it would be a mistake.
Well, see, there's a difference between WB and DC. And here's the thing. People forget that Marvel Comics is also like... They have a bunch of small comic companies under them that they bought out, kind of like how Disney's been doing. They bought like Epic Comics, and they bought... the Ultimate Comics or Unlimited Comics or something like that. They own a bunch of smaller companies, so they have a lot more characters than what you see.
Right.
But I don't think. Well, first off, they could never buy WB because legally they can't.
Yeah, at this point,
that would make them too large.
Yeah.
They could buy DC, and
Simpsons Land in Disney World.
This would be brilliant for Disney, I think, to open like a third theme park in the country. Because right now, and let's be honest, in Florida, there's limited land where they're at. I mean, they've got a ton of land, but so many other cities have exploded because of Disney and them, like Orlando, Miami, blah, 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 Tampa. I don't see them being able to expand that too much, especially with Universal right there, unless they devour Universal's theme park, which is relatively small. But, you know.
Jay Dickens said World War Hulk could happen now, too.
Well, they'd have to do Planet Hulk, and they'd have to do it for real, and not like...
Put a new park near Flint. Just level Flint and put it there. Yeah, that's a great idea. Maybe they could actually get some good water pipes there.
Yeah. Decent.
No,
I mean,
your best decision. You've got your East and your West. Throw something in the Midwest. There's plenty of open land out there. Simpsons Land in Springfield, Illinois.
Springfield. Yep, that would be brilliant.
No,
so, I don't think they'd buy DC, and I don't think WB would give it up. I mean, unless they got a $10 billion thing like that, but I don't think.
Yeah,
because it's such an anchored investment. Batman and Superman are always going to make money. Wonder Woman's more or less always going to make money.
Right.
And they might not turn the profits they want, but these movies do make money for them.
Right.
I just don't know. And here's the thing, though. The only unfortunate thing is, like, Disney's got to get on the ball with their Marvel animation stuff because it absolutely sucks.
There's problems. I mean, we've highlighted them before, especially like the Spider-Man show with no shadows on the characters, but some shadows on inanimate objects that are just drawn on the background and stuff like that. But so their animation's hit and miss. Star Wars Rebels did really well. The new Spider-Man show is not doing great. The Guardians of the Galaxy one, as far as I could tell, is mediocre.
Those Groot and Rocket shorts were really good.
Yeah. So they have spots that are hitting and some that are missing. They need to bring it together and figure out what they need to make it successful. And they have animation studios like crazy now. You know, Pixar puts out great stuff. Who did Big Hero 6? Which studio did that? That wasn't
Disney
Pixar.
did that.
It was just the Disney animation studio.
Pixar doesn't really do like IPs that somebody else owns. They like to make their own stuff.
Who did The Incredibles? Was that Disney Animations?
That was Pixar.
That was Pixar.
Yeah.
Man, they did such a good job with that, though. I mean, you're exactly right. Yes. That's the perfect example of what the Fantastic Four could be. I mean,
right, absolutely. Right, and like I said, they might have something that is like an established IP, but they don't use that IP. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I know. I got you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's huge news, and we'll still continue to talk about the fallout and the future planning that'll happen. Disney Marvel's release schedule just got a lot bigger for next year. I mean, talking about is that Phoenix movie done?
I think so.
They either need to just cancel it and say, "Hey, here's your check, go home," and never release it, or I guess keep it as scheduled, because I think that's one of the ones that was supposed to be released next year, later in the year, and Deadpool in the earlier part of the year. But
right, Deadpool's still like the February, March area.
They are taking up at least 2 more release slots a year now with that.
Holy crap! Wait, I'm sorry to cut you off. Does this mean that Disney now owns the Shi'ar Empire as well?
The what?
They're a alien race in X-Men, and the Dark Phoenix dealt with them a lot. So let me speak about Dark Phoenix real quick. I don't know if this is what frustrates me about when these famous comic book stories get adapted to movies. I saw a post the other day where it was like the Dark Phoenix trailer, and somebody was like, X-Men more like X-women, haha, girl power. And I'm like, you do realize she's the villain of this story arc, right? And then she goes as the Dark Phoenix to another galaxy, devours their sun,
star,
a star, but they're equivalent to our sun, and destroys an entire galaxy because she was hungry, killing billions to trillions of living beings, countless sentient beings.
But she's a girl, so
starting a galactic war.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's funny.
It was
like
really the physical manifestation of all psychic energy that every sentient being puts out in the universe.
She ate it.
No, I know that's what the Dark Phoenix is, or the Phoenix.
No, I know. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. But just before you write your titles like that, just remember stuff like that in the comics. Anyway, so one thing I want to throw in here real quick. I know we don't have anything.
Real quick, huh?
Real quick is the Battle Angel Attila or Atlanta. I'm that terrible with pronounced names. Trailer got released.
Oh, I heard.
Did you see that?
I heard that was terrible.
I thought it was amazing.
Oh, okay.
So people were like talking about her eyes are weird. Well, guess what? That's the way the art looks in the comic, and there's a very specific reason why it's like that.
Oh no!
And she's the only one in the movie that looks like that. Well, at least the one that we saw in the trailer. And I thought it was great. And people were like, "Well, she's not Japanese. She's not Japanese." Well, the character's not Japanese. Just like how technically Goku's not Japanese. He's an alien.
Yeah.
If it was. And in fact, the manga actually takes place in what used to be southern United States, which is now called the Scrapland or something in the manga.
Right.
So they're kind of doing it the right way. And since James Cameron, for all his jerky tendencies, this is a thing he's been passionate about for a while. He's really been trying to make this movie, and with the exception of Avatar, when he's passionate about a project, it works. Avatar just was terrible.
Didn't James Cameron do the original Akira as well? Wasn't that James Cameron? Because he was supposedly attached to the new series as well.
The original Akira, like the Japanese animated one.
No, didn't they redo? Didn't
he was going to? He was going to try to.
Oh, it was Christopher Nolan's attached to the new one. My bad.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. That was from 2015. Why Akira could be Christopher Nolan's next movie? Because he's not doing Batman anymore.
Well, guess what? Akira can't be done in one movie. They tried it with the Batman movie.
They were already talking about a trilogy. So that's not even a question.
Okay, yeah. Try 6 movies.
That's fine.
Unless each movie's like 3.5 hours long.
8 seasons.
That movie's massive. I mean that comic's massive.
All right, let's hit the last thing in the movies, and then we'll get into the games real quick here. Super Mario Brothers the movie again, being planned with Illumination Studio, which is the that belongs to Warner Brothers, right?
Yes, and they're the ones that did some of the Dr. Seuss stories, right?
Oh, Nintendo needs to hitch their wagon to Disney instead of Warner Brothers, even though I think they're putting a Nintendo Land down at the Universal Studios down in Florida, I think. I'll have to look it up.
I thought that was with Universal.
That's what I said. I just said Universal Studios. Anyways, I think it'd be an interesting. Illumination's a good animation studio. I do like me some Despicable Me movies. And
I mean, they're okay.
They're all right. I mean, they're not the worst pick, but you know.
They're making a Sing too.
A what?
Why?
Hey, Sing was a good movie. Knock it off.
Sing was okay.
Knock it off, man.
I do like a lot of the soundtrack, and I was actually praising Seth MacFarlane's singing voice this morning. It's okay. Never mind. They did Dolores, which was pretty good. They didn't do. Oh no, that was Big Blue Box or whatever that did Horton Hears a Hoot. That was amazing.
Yeah, Universal's going all out with the Super Mario Land theme park, so they're adding it to. Oh, never mind. Universal Studios Japan. Lame. We want this stuff in the U.S.
I know. Why don't we get they've got a One Piece theme park where you get to see the actual ships and stuff. That's cool. I want cool stuff like that.
I wonder if Robbie, the one that asked you to do that one model, I wonder if he knows about that because he's a huge One Piece fan. I'll have to ask him. All right, so I mean, what do you think?
Well, Robbie should be listening to the show right now if he's a loyal, a true friend. So what do I think? I think it could be amazing. They do have some great animations, and here's the thing: they have to absolutely embrace the zaniness of the Mario universe. They can't try to do like a realistic thing. They
Dennis
have to just take
King
it.
Koopa.
Huh?
Dennis Hopper as King Koopa.
Yeah, I mean, I love that movie just because it's so weird.
Yeah,
but they have to don't take Mario from the real world and bring him to the Mushroom Kingdom. Just have him there, or whatever. We don't need an origin story really for Mario. The premise is already there. Hey, Mario's just a plumber.
Goombas with flamethrowers.
I mean, if they get a fire flower,
right?
They could use the super leaves in one of the new Super Mario Brothers games.
Perfect solution.
I mean, it wouldn't be that hard. You know what I would really like is like Super Mario Sunshine made it. They already had like plot and character and everything.
Man, I didn't really like that game.
I loved it.
Well, your voice acting
in it and everything.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's okay. All right, let's go ahead and hit the games. Unless you got anything else about Mario, I don't think I don't have anything else about it. I mean,
you think Yoshi will be? Of course, Yoshi will be in there. He's marketable,
right? Yeah, Yoshi. Yeah, everybody loves Yoshi. They gotta make him look like a real cool prehistoric dinosaur though, instead of that little weird thing they put in the game. So, all right, let's hit the video games. I need to get like the punch out thing, the in between rounds, the bell and then the music.
Oh, that would be good, wouldn't it?
All right, Destiny 2 got into a little bit of the DLC controversy, which, to be fair, has since been semi-remedied. They admitted they goofed and set some crap up. Watch the old live-action movie after this. Perfect. Take and have this kid sit down and watch with you.
Watch it.
You will watch this. You will enjoy it. Dennis Hopper.
Now you'll understand why your father acts the way he does.
Right. So they subsequently released their first DLC, the Curse of Osiris, expansion number 1, and then locked all the high-end content that was available at the end game for the base game behind the wall of the DLC, which they've kind of remedied, which is a very bad thing. The Nightfall missions that were, like ramped up difficulty and stuff, everything was being locked behind the DLC because it was on DLC levels. So they've since gone back and said that, okay, well, now people will have access to the Nightfall when it's a non-DLC mission. And I'm thinking to myself, man, the better answer would have been was during the times when we have a Nightfall for one of the DLC missions, we will also make a regular one available to complement the lower original base game levels. That's not what they said, though. They said it'll only be available when an old world mission is available as the Nightfall. They also re-unlocked the raids for those people at the 300 light level or whatever it is, which is still, it's crap. They're handling it badly.
You would think with a game that's already struggling to have extended content,
yeah,
like the Destiny series is, that they would quit trying to lock stuff behind paywalls. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to you got to feed that player base a lot of content before you start having these expansions paid for. And here's one of the things that frustrates me. I think I've said this on the show before. And I've had people that are like major fans of Destiny say this. Is like when WoW came out 12, 13, 14 years ago. They're like, yeah, well, WoW hardly had anything when it first came out. Like, yeah, 14 years ago, it didn't have anything.
To be fair, 14 years ago, the leveling experience was 1 to 60 when it launched.
Right, and that was the other thing.
A lot of content.
Let me finish. I'm defending. I was like, okay, 12 years ago, with the Stone Age internet back then, that's practically a million years ago, that was okay. Not to mention that you didn't max out at level 20. You know, you had to fight for your levels there. You couldn't level in a day unless you had like 10 games going.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for a MMO game to be released in this day and age, and their first game, you could beat the main story in 10 hours. 20 hours, you could beat all the side quests. No, that's unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you are like the most efficient player ever. But no. Like your cutscenes alone should be like 2 or 3 hours. Well, if you're supposed to have this massive immersive story.
Do you remember the cutscenes from Metal Gear Solid 2?
Yes.
That was amazing. That was like a movie. It was like, oh my god, there's a cutscene. I have to sit here and watch this. What was the other one?
Metal Gear Solid 4 was a movie. Every 5 seconds you had a cutscene.
What was that one PlayStation 2 game that was a movie? Was it Xenosaga?
There was like Xenosaga.
It was more of an anime than it was actual gameplay.
Yeah, it was like Xenosaga or something, because I know exactly what you're talking about, because it was like, the cutscene would pop up and I was like, oh, okay, this would be nice. And then like it keeps going and keeps going. And I'm like, I'm gonna go make a sandwich. I can hear it. And I'd come back and I'd make a sandwich and I'd eat it and I'm like, this is still going.
Yeah, this
then
is
I'd
it.
skip. And it would still be part of I just skipped to the middle of the cutscene. I'm like, okay, come on. It's been 30 minutes. Just
pardon my German, but Xenosaga Episode 1, Der Will Zermacht. That I played that game. It was cutscenes with a little bit of game in between, but it was an RPG. It was amazing.
Yeah, to be fair, it was fun. That short gameplay that it had, it was.
But it was amazing. I mean, you were watching 40 plus hours of an anime while you were playing.
Right,
so
right.
That was a huge value for that. That took a lot of work. And it's like Destiny 2, they've been working on for years before Destiny 2 launched, and it's like this is what you have to show: 8.5 hours to 10 hours worth of content. And
Absolutely.
I sit there and I wonder when these guys like that guy from was it Forbes or something, or one of the other analysts from one of the other papers that said that we're not paying enough for video games. It's like,
no, it was like one of the game developers said that.
No, it was an analyst. It wasn't a game developer. No, it was an analyst for one of the papers. He said that we aren't paying enough for video games, and I'm thinking to myself when I see these games, and it's like, what am I paying for? It's like, yeah, there's a bunch of cool stuff in the background that I'll never get to interact with. Is that what took so long?
Yeah.
So,
oh, yes. Oh, the ripples in his cape are extremely realistic. Yeah, but I finished this game in 30 minutes. No,
they already have the systems built. It's like everything else I've said. It's the reason why I'm okay every 2 years dumping $40 on WoW and then the $15 every month when I actually play is because that content is actually well done and takes a lot of work and doesn't take me 10 hours to get through. It takes me weeks, months, a whole year sometimes. And they keep releasing content every month or every 2 months at the least.
Yeah, all the patches they do. Guess what? Those patches are there. That's DLC, and it's free.
Kinda. I mean,
okay,
your monthly fee, but your monthly fee honestly doesn't match what their output is. What you're getting for you're getting more than what you're paying for with WoW.
And here's the other thing: is like, okay, first of all, they lose this perspective. This is a hobby. We can drop this at any time. I've got more than enough games that I've bought in the past that I could play forever.
You and your classic systems, you.
I've got tons of classic systems. I've got games where I've got all the patches and everything downloaded. Oh, I guess what? I can pop on the Newgrounds and play stupid Flash animations. Stupid phone here. Though I'd have to make sure I avoid the microtransactions. All the retro games. Yeah, exactly. It's like, this is a hobby. This is not a car. This is not food. This is not, nothing that we need. This is what we spend our extra money on. And for you to be that ungrateful for your consumers, when we could easily, what? Jeremy and I could pick up right now and go buy $60 worth of comics. And that would satisfy us for 3 or 4 hours. We could go buy stupid little models. $10, an hour and a half. Not to mention it breaks like that.
Yeah. Way to go.
D&D books. Infinite. One D&D book. $40, $50. Literally infinite playtime with that.
Over years. Decades even.
Yeah. Look at this right here. This Fate Accelerated, $5, just as long as D&D we just said. These games, no, you have to be to our standards, game company.
So reasonably, there was a huge outcry, especially with the fallout from Battlefront 2. Battlefront 2, apparently the lowest prices people have been seeing is like $35 right now too for the game.
Oh yeah, I've been seeing tons of pictures of them like at Walmart's, and there you see the cases and everything around it is only got like 2 or 3 copies. Battlefront 2 has like
all the way to
3 rows full.
Yeah.
I wonder if we've gotten more numbers, but didn't somebody say that they were like projecting 60% loss of what was expected or something?
Yeah, something like that. But let's talk about let's move past this and talk about a company that's once again endearing in the hearts of gamers around the world, including South Korea, where apparently it just recently got released, where they sold 500,000 units in like 3 days, which is pretty amazing for that, for that country. All right, Nintendo Switch, yay! The Nintendo Switch has surpassed 10 million units sold since the launch in March 3rd. This is up to, I want to say like October or beginning of November. So any sales currently going on during the the crazy holiday shopping season are only going to add to this. Let's see, it has been 9 months since it launched on March 3rd, and it has sold 10 million units. In 5 years that the Wii U had been in production, it only sold 13.56 million units over 5 years. And it wasn't a huge hit for game makers, so they didn't spend the time to make games for it. People were either playing the Wii U or moving on to the bigger consoles. So Nintendo lost a lot of the third-party support that it needed to make that system successful. Nintendo racked up $209 million in profits for the quarter, with revenues reaching $1.93 billion. The company managed to sell 22 million game titles in the last half year, a figure that doesn't account for the recently launched Super Mario Odyssey, which is likely to sell consoles all by itself. Especially with all those cool systems that people are buying because they're Super Mario Odyssey themed systems.
Sorry to cut you off, but I absolutely agree with you, Provost / Taylor, if I'm pronouncing the previous incorrectly. And I think it's starting to resonate with, because even companies, if you paid attention to the video game awards, they were lashing out. The guy started to open up an envelope for best game or whatever, and he's like, "Oh crap, microtransactions!" He pulled out a credit card and had to cut the card open.
Who was that? Who was it?
Whoever owns the video game awards.
No. That was an actor that did that.
Oh, I'm not too sure. But who else? Another company came out that they made a trailer or something making fun of microtransactions, and they posted it on Twitter. You see that? It was
Zachary Levi, the guy that played Chuck on the TV show Chuck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But there was a some, I don't, who was that posted that? It wasn't Ubisoft, because they're awful too. I think Blizzard took a jab at them.
The guy that created that A Way Out game, the one where you're 2 guys in prison escaping.
Oh yeah, that one. That
guy. He used to be a film producer or a film director, and left it to do video games instead. And man, I've never seen a host blush more, because that guy kept dropping F-bombs left and right, talking about FEA, and he says, "My game's being published by EA. F those guys. They're terrible."
Man. I wonder, and the way he sounded, was it wasn't just like him jumping on a hype train. It seemed like maybe he had to deal with those kind of executives.
Well, he did. He said I had to deal with that in Hollywood too, and he does not like that kind of crap. He says he hated when people would come in and tell him how to do his stuff. He says, "I know they're publishing my game, but they're not telling me how to do anything with my game." He
And they
was
shouldn't.
he was adamant. So, yeah, up until they purchase him and close their studio.
Oh yeah.
So,
But hey, at least it was a fun rant when he does it. So, but then again, they pay him $1 billion, and then he can spend the rest of his life just talking about how stupid they were for doing that.
yeah, Blizzard is also taking stabs. There was even some stuff on Twitter back and forth between two of their accounts, which is hilarious because they're basically having conversations with themselves, taking jabs at EA. The last thing on this. According to Reuters report, Nintendo is now endeavoring to meet customer demand, which is still not easy to buy a Switch in stores. But they've boosted production in order to meet strong demands from their customers, as it was difficult to buy the consoles in retail stores recently. I do have to say I have seen a lot in cases at stores while I've been out shopping for Christmas.
Yeah, and he might not necessarily be talking about in America too.
No, I know. I'm just saying. Well. But for a while there, I would go in the store and see nothing in the case, and I was like, man, this isn't a good way to sell the system. I was worried, but at the same time, I'm not, because that's a good thing. It's selling. They can't keep it on the shelf.
Right, and here's my other thing is, okay, that's all well good that you're bumping up production of your Switches. Bump up your production of the SNES Classic. That's what I want.
They are. They
Not
are
fast enough.
not fast enough. I know, and they're also going to repress the NES Classic as well.
Yeah, so. And apparently there's been leaks that the N64 Classic's coming.
That'd be interesting. I want an awesome Y controller again.
Hopefully that would come in. I love the Nintendo 64.
It was great. It needs to have Zelda on it. It needs to have Mario 64. It needs to have
absolutely
Mario Kart.
Have all of those on there. I just really didn't mind. That was the worst.
Castlevania 64. Do you remember that one? That one was a good one.
Yeah. I don't know about that. Conquer?
What?
Conquer's bad for a day?
No.
Yes.
No. I'll pass. Yeah. Isn't it on the Xbox?
Yeah,
Rare
and they
Classic?
censored it.
Yeah.
When they called it Live and Reloaded, like, oh, it's going to be even more uncut.
Right.
And when Nintendo has a more extreme game than you, in terms of violence and nudity and language, there's something wrong.
Language. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up, I think, unless you've got anything else to add for the Switch. I know you want one as much as I do.
I've got to get one. So. And I was really hoping, like on Black Friday and stuff, they'd have them on sale, but they didn't.
Oh no, you'll never see that on sale. Not
yet.
I
know.
Like I said, once they hit a cycle, or if it starts to slow on sales, they'll probably drop the price a little bit, or there'll be sales occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's too strong right now for sales for them to even consider to cut it.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's just I was just that's kind of wishful thinking on my
Wait till they announce the upgrade to the hardware. I'm telling you.
Switch Pro?
No, I think they'll. I don't think they will. I don't think they'll rebrand it anything.
No, that was me making a joke towards.
No, I know. I'm just saying. I don't think they'll rebrand it anything. I think they'll. That's like Marvel making a tamer movie than Disney.
Now, hey man, you remember the Black Hole?
What's that?
The Black Hole, the movie Disney made, that was intense.
I don't remember that one.
All right. Kind of their bastard child.
Oh, great. All right, well, that's all we've got. I thought it was Black Cauldron.
No, they did make a Black Cauldron.
Yeah, but I thought that was the Super Switch U. Like I said, I don't think they'll rename it. I think they'll keep it the Switch, and they'll just say, hey, we've got upgraded internals. If anything, maybe throw the word new in front of it, even though they didn't really necessarily need to do that. Just say, hey, listen, we're doing a hardware refresh. I think this whole crap with PlayStation 4 Pro and Xbox One X isn't really necessary.
That's one thing we didn't mention is the Xbox One PUBG version came out, and it's at 30 frames, and everybody's acting surprised.
Yeah, I don't know why people are surprised. And it looks like garbage on the original Xbox because it's older hardware, and it's a non-solid state drive. When I saw a picture of the graphics and how somebody said, oh, these graphics are terrible, all I could think of is, well, my nephew was having issues on my wife's computer, but he had PUBG installed on a platter instead of a solid state, and it's just the slow load speeds. That's all.
And here's the graphics don't matter, but guess what? In a competitive only game like PUBG, frame rates do matter.
Yeah.
So maybe that wasn't the best idea, especially making it cross-platform.
It's also playing on the unoptimized version, anyways. Like I said, the test server, the patch that I've been playing on, I'm getting over 109 frames per second. It looks beautiful, and they've made such great changes to it. So, but catch me this weekend on my own channel, and you can watch me play some PUBG for sure.
Hey, and guess what? You might catch me on my channel doing something. I want to actually play 7 Max Hit the Road.
Oh my God! Where is it on Steam?
It's on Good Old Games.
It's on Good Old Games. Oh God! You have no idea how many times I played through that. Have you played through it before?
I've actually never played through 7 Max. I love the cartoon. I love the comic.
Oh my God!
And I was actually quoting everything to my wife today about it. I also bought Cuphead is on sale on Good Old Games.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's actually, this one. I was doing that during the show. I was buying games off there. Okay, I was like $3.
There was a part in Sam and Max Hit the Road where Max is like dressed up as a fish, and this guy pulls him in, and he's obviously as big as he is, being a lagomorph and all. Says holy mackerel, and all of a sudden Max says, "I'm a trout, stupid," and then the guy says, "Holy trout." That game is published by LucasArts.
Right, yeah. Back when they were really good.
It's such a great game. If anybody has ever not tried that game, go back. It is a point-and-click game, but man, the comedy of Sam and Max is so awesome. So
it's
Steve Purcell
an absolute classic
genius.
Game. And one day, obviously, we're winding down here, but we'll have to discuss like how he came up with the comic and everything.
Oh man.
Because it's absolutely hilarious. Like every story about these characters is hilarious.
Yeah, the TV show is great. I need to actually. I have like one of the seasons of the Telltale game.
Yep.
I need to play through. I think I only have season 3, so I need to go get the rest of them because I got them as part of a deal. But
right, you bought like the one card or something.
I bought one of the Humble Bundles that I got it in. The 2 and 3 on the PS4. Sam and Max. Oh man, Sam and Max. I can't find. You know what angers me?
What?
I bought a hardcover edition of the. I don't remember if it was actually entitled Sam and Max Hit the Road, but it was a hardcover comic, like an omnibus that got put out. Like I got an original copy of it, and I have no idea where it is.
Dude, I was looking. You know how much those are right now?
The hard,
like $80 to $100.
The hardcover.
I was like, oh
no,
huh? Yes.
Are you
on Amazon? Yes, because they're out of print.
I don't know where it is. It's probably in a box in my mom's garage. I hope.
Well, I'm going to your mom's garage. I'm stealing it because I even
had the dust cover on it.
There is, by the way, good news, 7 Max fans. You can actually watch the first 2 seasons legally on YouTube, I believe.
Oh, really? That's such a good show.
It is. Oh. They had to tone down the characters, but it's a really good show.
All right, let's get out of here. We appreciate everybody stopping by, listening, watching. You guys here on YouTube, and those of you lurking on Twitch, appreciate it greatly. Please leave us feedback on the show wherever you get it from. On iTunes or Google Play Music if that's where you're listening to stuff. Leave us reviews on there; it'll greatly help us out. In fact, if you want, go on iTunes and put one on there now. iTunes just put out their analytics stuff, and maybe we can get featured on the front page for something. But also, don't forget to check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/StasisGeek. And any of the money that you guys send us will go towards better productions of the show. Or,
what he said.
What?
Nothing. What?
Or other things that we can put in content, whether it be more frequent models that Mitch can do, or games that I can review and stuff like that, and put stuff out on. The little bit of help will go a long way. Otherwise, on that page, it also has a bunch of ideas on ways that you can help us out in other ways that aren't financial. Your turn.
My turn?
Yeah, it's your turn.
My turn! You can contact us at ECG_podcast on Twitter and our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/ECGpodcast, or our email address at ecgpodcast@gmail.com. Also visit us on our webpage, www.stasisgeek.com. That's STASISGEEK.com. Or post a comment on our video or a review like Jeremy said. In fact, I dare you. You can't do it. You're not tough enough. You sissies.
You're taunting them. Great.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we will be back next week. It'll be, the Friday right before Christmas?
Yes, it will be the Friday the 22nd and not a peep in the house.
And
except for us going on stupid rants.
And going forward, I will be done with school on Tuesday, finally.
Yay!
So I'll have more time to do other things and focus more on what I can do for the webpage and the shows and all that good stuff. We probably won't do a show on the 29th. We'll probably hold off. You're not going to work on the 1st, right?
The 1st of January, no.
I will be working that night, but Sunday the 31st, we'll probably do our annual end of the year show then, which means we have a lot of planning to do. Usually there's no big things in the news, especially even next week there might not be anything too big, which might actually poise us to do the how do you fix the DCEU. The 31st though will be our year in review type thing, and we'll go over the biggest news stories, which will give us more opportunity to talk about Disney buying Fox and further ramifications, because that'll be 2 full weeks that we'll have of information that'll be people uncovering, they'll be able to do this. This could happen. This could happen. And, the possibilities are endless. So we'll have that stuff planned out, and we'll let you guys know as everything goes. But for now, expect us at least back next Friday for sure. Until then, stay geeky.